Hey, we're live.
We're live.
Fuck this movie.
Well, fuck it. Fuck it.
Fuck it all. Fuck them all.
All right.
All right, yeah.
Another
Got that out of the way.
We're here.
Yeah.
That's important.
And that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
It's not a wrap yet. We got to do some introductions. I'm going to start with myself first because nobody ever does that when they're doing introductions.
No.
But I'm too cool to be old.
There you go.
Mr. Dustin Holler.
Hey, there
to
you
my
go.
right,
That works.
he's too old to be cool. He's John Brown. And then to my left, he's too young to be self-aware. Mr. Reese Anweiler.
There you
Holler. Holla.
Oh,
go.
never heard that before. Ever.
All right. So
Every conference call. I've ever been on
everyone.
my entire life. So anyway, this is a film where we watch movies and then fuck them. And so we always start by talking about what we've been watching, what we've been fucking. What have you guys been fucking around with?
Yeah, I'll start off. I have a little less than usual. I do have a couple things that I really did want to talk about because they were pretty fun. I'll start with the bad ones first. Or I'll scale it. So first thing I'd talk about is Madman, an 80s horror I found on Shudder.
Madman?
Madman.
So not to be confused with Mad Men,
No,
the
definitely
John,
not that.
the
no.
John Hamm series, which is
Great.
fucking fantastic.
No, so this is just your pretty much like the quintessential like camp slasher. You know, starts out
It's
with
Jason.
a spooky story.
Please don't kill me, Freaky Jason.
Yeah,
Oh, he's
it's,
got an axe.
Guy does have an axe.
Or a machete.
Honestly, he's a little more intimidating than like Jason to a degree, but yeah, there are less boobs than you would expect from an 80s horror such as this. Not really any boobs. Some very awkward scenes. There's one scene where the main chick and I guess the main dude. I think he actually dies pretty early. But there's this like super awkward like romance scene where in this hot tub, and God, it just takes forever. It's a good like 5 minutes of them basically just like swirling around this hot tub, like staring at each other longingly, with some really bad like fucking super cheesy romance music playing in the background. But all in all, like if you want a good just kind of bullshit slasher, there are some definitely cool things. There's some cool kills, some cool blood work and practical effects there. I mean, there's some completely like ridiculous shit that's great to laugh at. Like in one scene, this dude is just like a chick was looking for some of the other campers, or no, I guess the other camp counselors, and the truck that she's installs, and so she gets out and is digging around in the hood, and he like, of course, without her knowing, somehow this motherfucker's like 6 feet, probably like 350 pounds, without her knowing, gets on top of the truck and then jumps down on the hood to like sever her head, you know. And then not that long after,
He's
a couple
cheetah.
more. He is a cheetah, big fucking grunty. The noises he makes are hilarious too, like great sound bites there. But a little bit later, a couple more of the counselors are looking for her, and one of them sees this dude in front of this truck. Like, yeah, there we go. Yeah, he's pretty sweet.
That's a good screenshot there.
Yeah.
I like that. Man,
He's,
I want to watch it. I was not interested in the movie at all until I saw that
No,
screenshot.
it's, dude,
Is he wearing a mask?
No, he's just got a fucked up face.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the killer is a fucked up face.
Because it looks not
He's like he's a pseudo he's kind of a
Leatherface-ish.
zombie, kind of a zombie type thing.
Okay.
He's undead somehow.
somehow undead.
Yeah, somehow undead. But yeah, another scene. These
Aren't they
broads
all?
see this dude standing in front of this truck. She screams to her boyfriend, and I saw somebody. Oh no, you didn't. It's fine. So she's, no, we gotta go look. And they walk to the truck. This broad saw this motherfucker standing in front of the truck, and they walk all the way around the backside of the truck, like twice. Don't go in front of the truck, which is covered in fucking blood. And then the dude gets in the truck finally, still not going around the front of the truck, rolls down the window for absolutely no fucking reason. Well, the reason, of course, is the guy's going to snatch him out of the fucking window in, mere moments. But yeah, if you just want to watch some fun bullshit, it's definitely that.
Yeah.
It's on Shudder. It's not a disappointing classic slasher horror watch. Yeah, there's plenty more out there that are like way more just forgettable than this one.
Yeah.
There are moments that are memorable at least. Another thing I watched on Shudder was Baghead. I talked to Reese about that a little bit.
I had to look this
That's
up.
a newer. It's got a couple.
Baghead?
Shit name. Complete shit name.
Does somebody have a bag as a head?
Yeah, not as a head. Bag on the head.
Oh.
Yeah, a witch.
Don't be ridiculous, Dustin.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. What was I thinking?
Yeah. No, it's not the worst premise. It's basically a witch that's been trapped in a catacomb underneath this big like bar that this girl inherits from her father, and once you've inherited the bar, then you're cursed with keeping and maintaining the spirit and keeping the spirit there, and then it's revealed that the spirit is basically been fucked over by some religious organization and was used because she had powers to resurrect the dead, and of course they abused the fuck out of that power and yada yada yada. But no, it was pretty well done. It's definitely one where you're going to yell at the screen a little bit, but all in all, the production value is very solid. I appreciate it. The writing wasn't bad at all, really. Definitely a little more unique as far as the way it was delivered than some of the similar stuff I've seen over the years. The guy that plays the father is pretty recognizable.
Ned Dennehy?
Yeah, I've seen him in quite a few things.
Okay.
No, that's he's in there too. That's another recognizable guy.
Is that Dennehy?
Oh,
Is he-
Peter
He
Mullen.
plays a broker, yeah.
Oh, it's a
Peter
British film.
Yeah.
I was thinking this was an American film.
Probably because it wasn't specified you're an American.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, so not bad at all.
Now wait a minute. Was Madman in America?
You know, who knows? Who knows? Shit, man. After being revealed to me that Rubber was a French film, I mean, who knows these days? But yeah, so that
Trust
one's
no
all right.
one.
I do recommend checking that out if you like horror flicks. It's worth the time. The last one I have to talk about is not a good movie. It was entertaining, but it's not a good movie by any means. But it was a really fucking cool premise, and I didn't even hear about it when it got in the theater. Mortal Engines, sci-fi, dystopian,
I remember seeing
post-apocalyptic
trailers for
thing.
that, and like it was one of those movies where the trailers got me excited because it's got all the like triggers of like something I would like.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like my wife got to it before me and was just like, it was fucking atrocious. And it was
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah, it's not good by any means. It is a really fucking cool premise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I really
that's
like
what
the
that's what I
setup.
felt like by not watching it. I got the sense that it wasn't good, but there was something good in there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's based on a book.
Yeah.
Or a book series.
Aesthetically, it's like halfway between Mad Max and Lord of the Rings, kind of.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
they
that
just couldn't capitalize on all those
Well,
aesthetics.
They just they focus too much on the aesthetic as opposed to the
this
actual
was like an
writing.
expensive movie to make.
Yeah.
only
I mean,
for it to
it's
bomb
also,
in theaters,
Yeah.
right?
it is based on like a young adult series specifically.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you
that's
can
like-
definitely,
you
can
That's
tell.
the wrong way to go.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the romance is kind of front and center of the story of a much more
Not
interesting.
to
world.
get into spoiler territory, but doing a little bit of reading on one of the subjects of today's double feature,
Yeah.
Starship Troopers, and that also was based on a book that I didn't realize until doing research today that book was also kind of based on and towards kind of more young adults.
Yeah.
And so like the translation is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll get to
Young
that.
adults from a different time for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, in which I didn't get a chance to. I wanted to read that book, but I didn't get a chance to yet. But yeah, so Mortal Engines, like if you like dystopian sci-fi stuff, there are
do.
going to be some things that are enjoyable in it. The aesthetic is definitely cool. The concept is cool. The concept is basically that at some point some ancients came along and said, fuck humanity, blew everything up. And for a period, for some reason that they don't really state or specify, but they kind of lead you to believe that because of these ancients still being present, that people had to cities had to become mobile, and so all settlements had to be literally just moving cities. And then at a certain point, they all kind of they operate on this sociological structure where you just fucking hunt each other to death because that's all there is to do. But it's actual physical cities hunting
Hunt
other
each other to
physical
death.
cities,
Yeah.
which is not a bad premise. I dug it. It's just they didn't present enough of the history and backstory to really make it stick. And at the stage that you find yourself in the story, there doesn't seem to be any fucking reason that people can't just get along, because the whole bit is that London, and by the end of it too, it felt super fucking super villainization of the West for sure. So, because the good guys in the story all exist behind this wall, and they're all Asian and Eastern and fucking of all kinds, and then the big bad guy is London, the city of London, just tearing through and wrecking shit. So, but yeah, when you see this, these predatory cities, we have to hunt each other, but there's really not any reason that they have to.
Yeah, it's
they don't present
for
a way-
supplies and fuel.
Yeah, for
but,
fuel and shit, but it's you're presenting us with technology. You're not presenting us with any threat that means your city has to keep moving anymore, other than you guys just being dicks and picking on little guys.
Yeah.
You could, there's nothing to say they couldn't settle down and mind their own shit, and there's nothing to say that the people behind the wall, other than just personal spite, wouldn't want to, but once you get behind the wall, it's utopian and fucking it's gorgeous and all the resources they could ever want. I just don't see, but I guess maybe because it is if it's geared towards young adults, tend to be kind of fucking petty and shitty, so that's
Yeah.
how they process those things. But yeah, no, it was an interesting idea. There's a cool story.
There's
or
some
a
fun
cool-
visuals in there you're not going to
Yeah.
see anywhere else.
There's a cool character that I thought was really underused. The reanimated guy. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters, so it's
Yeah.
been a long time.
Yeah, there's the guy that hunts the girl.
Yeah. I recall
that was
him being interesting.
That was
yeah.
her pseudo dad.
Did you play I think it's Fallout 3 or 4 where you interact with
Ooh, a video game reference.
a character that it's like an android with human skin on it, but a lot of the skin is like damaged and wearing away, so you can see like the light of his
I think so.
Power cells coming through his eyes and skin.
Right.
Yeah, the character's
vibe,
very
for sure.
similarly like designed to that.
No,
It's
it
pretty
wasn't like they developed this guy as like her father figure, but then he's like hunting her because she broke a promise because he's going to turn her into a robot. But just overall, the character was actually kind of interesting, completely underused, and like came to a super abrupt, lazy end. But
I recall.
No, I really dug the vibe, dug the setup of the world with a little bit more work. I think it could have actually been something really cool, but it was not. So that pretty much does it for me as far as the stuff I've watched. So take it away, Reese.
My turn. Well, it's been a pretty active couple weeks for like theater movies, honestly.
Fuck yeah.
First, of course, did I not talk about Godzilla X Kong yet?
I don't believe so.
You have not.
It came out like the Friday after we recorded, I think. So yeah.
So you would not have because we had already recorded.
Yes.
Because it was after we recorded, so
I still don't understand.
Yeah.
It's
that old like 80s thing, like this film was pre-recorded. It's like, of course it was pre-recorded. Like, when else are you gonna record it?
It was post-recorded.
We went back and recorded it all again. We recorded.
Yeah, it's dumb, very dumb.
I'm glad we set the stage
that's pretty
for
much
that.
what I assumed it was going to be full fucking just cheese popcorn.
Yeah.
You know, you got me to go see Godzilla -1.
Oh yeah, but that's like a different franchise.
And then you got
altogether.
me to not go see the Godzilla
Look,
Kong.
If you like big stupid monster movies, go have fun. But like, I don't think you are gonna like it.
Yeah, no.
And for the very reason you had to be talked into seeing -1 is the reason you shouldn't go see this one.
I didn't have to be talked into it. You just talked me into it. I wasn't planning on going to see it, and you talked highly about it, and I was like, fuck, I should go see that.
This one is, I mean, it's still a fun, dumb movie. I think the biggest disappointment is to bill it as not only a double billing of both of them, but to have Godzilla listed first when Godzilla is in it about a third as much as Kong is. And Kong is like the main character. Godzilla is doing like a side quest in the background and then shows up for the final fight. So if it had literally just been called Kong, the New Empire, and then Godzilla showed up in the last 30 minutes, I probably would have loved it.
Right, probably
but
had
the
a better
fact
effect,
that it's both of their movie and Godzilla's barely in it makes it very disappointing.
Yeah. I could see that.
But there's lots of fun creatures and battles and stuff that show up. Mothra shows up, which I was very excited for.
Yeah, cool.
It's
good to know she's not dead.
Yeah. I watched Melancholia, which is...
That's fucking terribly depressing.
Yeah. I mean... Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. It's not quite as bad as a
Dogville.
It's still pretty fucking rough.
Yeah.
Like the dad that's just like, fuck you, I'm out. Kill myself or something.
The mom, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes. He's like been reassuring his wife the entire movie that it's fine, and then immediately kills himself.
Out. Yeah. Sorry.
Which honestly, like, fucking pussy move. You don't want to see what's gonna happen? Come on. Don't want to get into too much spoilers though. This is from some all stars of the podcast. This is from the director of Dogville, Lars Van Trier, and one of the supporting actors is John Hurt, playing the main character's father. Great cast.
Yeah, it was a very good cast. It's solid fucking movie.
Yeah, it's a very, very odd in a very similar way.
John Hurt has appeared in more "fuck this movie" movies than any other actor.
For sure.
So far.
Yeah, we got to keep it up.
So far, yeah.
I just got to keep finding more John Hurt movies to watch.
Yeah, I mean, if we go on long enough and get to 1 million episodes, as I predicted beforehand, when you said we would be the longest running podcast of all time, still going for that.
Yeah.
But
I found out John Hurt was in a buddy cop.
What we've learned that eventually he will be surpassed by people like Eric Roberts and James Hong.
Yeah. That is, unfortunately, the number of John Hurt movies we can watch is a fixed thing.
He has a shelf life.
Unfortunately.
But I found out he was in a buddy cop movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Partners, 1982. He is partners with Ryan O'Neal. Ryan O'Neal plays a very, bigoted, homophobic cop, and John Hurt plays a gay cop, and they have to team up.
Nice.
Surprisingly, it has a 2.8 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So I don't think it's a super PC movie, but I can't help it. I probably will end up watching it at some point.
Yeah. I mean,
it's going to be a very much a product of the time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I love time travel movies. I'm
you and me both, brother.
I am a sucker for time travel movies.
Even bad ones are good.
Yes, because the concept is interesting. Yeah. So I want to see people's ideas about it, and it's fun. And I was wanting a little hit of nostalgia, so I went back and watched the 2002 The Time Machine with Guy Pearce.
I never really get around to see that.
So I did see that movie, and man, I get why it got shut out by critics, but I'm a time travel guy, so I like it, and I see the positives in it.
Yeah.
And all they see is the negatives in it, but that's every time travel movie, really.
Yeah.
They all kind of have the same negatives,
Yeah, it's really hard. There's no way to do it perfectly, and
that's kind of what I love about the time travel genre, is that there's no way to do it perfectly.
Yeah.
And so anytime you try to do something different, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I really I know I've talked previously about Time, which
I think About Time's actually really good.
And The Time Traveler's Wife, which was based off of a book. They made a movie, and they also made a series.
I heard the series was actually decent.
The series was actually fantastic.
Yeah,
the series was really good. Honestly, if you've seen the movie, it kind of defeats the purpose of watching. Basically, the series is a longer, more detailed version of the movie.
Yeah.
So it kind of made the movie obsolete. Because I'd already seen the movie, and then I watched the series, and I love the movie. I like this series, but after watching the series, it's yeah, okay. I mean, same story. Kind of made the movie obsolete just because you instead of having 2 hours, you have 10 hours,
and especially something like
you're
that.
just able to give me more details.
Yeah,
and
you really
it makes more
details.
sense.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I think the first half of this movie where he's inventing the time machine and then going to all the different, that's a big gripe of mine. I like time travel movies that are a fixed time. They're just maybe over the course of a few days or something. Have you ever seen Time Crimes?
I've not seen Time Crimes.
Time Crimes is really good. You should watch that one.
I will. I love Time.
You ever seen Time Cop?
I have actually.
I have seen Time.
I wish I could go back in time and not seen it. So I could watch it again and be disappointed all over.
And it never ends.
But I also get disappointed at certain kind of time travel movies, like some of the Back to the Future movies, where they don't do a lot of time traveling. It's they go to, we go to the 50s, and that's it. I get it for what it is, but then that's why I kind of like time Back to the Future 2,
right?
Because they do the most jumping around to different, not only time periods, but realities and stuff. And anyway,
but one quick jab as I shit on Back to the Future 2. Which it's a silly thing to shit on because it's my childhood. It's one of it's a movie I've seen more times than a lot of movies. But I do remember from the time that at the time when Back to the Future 2 hit theaters, there were more single product placement ads in that movie than any movie in history before.
Yeah.
Which is crazy when you think about the future, and it's just the movie's just a walking billboard, It's Pepsi this and Tabasco that, and like
Yeah.
everywhere, like the entire movie is just a walking billboard, which kind of
I mean, they got it right.
yeah, I
That
mean,
is
like,
the world.
it is, but like it also kind of makes it like the most whorish of the three movies.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could just hope that somehow they were trying to be on the nose with it. But it's super horish.
It fits especially the future aesthetic they're going for.
Yeah.
But the time machine. I really like that he does jump around to several different times and does a little bit of exploring, and that's definitely like the best part of the movie. And there's a really cool montage of him like just going through time, and it zooms out, and it's CGI structures of like the entire New York City being built and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And then
How did
travel
you
happening?
And we're gonna get into a little bit of spoilers about this movie that you just brought up nonchalantly, and we're gonna get into it because I've seen the movie and I love time travel shit. And I'm sorry, John Brown, you haven't seen the movie.
I don't give a shit.
We're gonna get a little bit of spoilers, but how did you feel about the payoff at the end? Where like, again, I've already said spoilers like 3 times, so I'm just gonna run you through it. Basically, the man has a love, and the love dies, and so he invents a time machine to go back and stop it. And like basically what he invents is a machine that allows him to witness his love die in endless ways, because he keeps going back to change it, and every time she dies a different way.
Because he runs into the paradox where if she doesn't die, then
Yes.
he doesn't.
Yeah, and like so that's just
time.
like the twist at the end, where is it like he goes forward in time to find out why I couldn't change time, and like going forward, he learns basically in the end that you couldn't change time because if she had actually lived, then you never would have had a reason to make your time machine, so you couldn't have gone back to save her.
I think that works.
I mean, it works, but it's also lazy as shit. I mean, like that's just the ending to every time travel movie.
Well, I mean,
so
that's why, like, so I dig a lot of time travel stuff, but that is kind of the thing that sucks about time travel is it always goes back to that same circular loop.
That's honestly why I really like the idea of the time traveler's wife, because here's a guy who time travels like and he has no control over it. It just happens.
Yeah.
They'll just be having a conversation like, fuck, well, I'm over here now. You know,
that's way more interesting.
It is way more interesting, and it sets up for a way cooler design for, you know, like one of the cool things that I liked about watching that series was that there was a scene where like he's riding in a car, and the whole time he's just got like his hand on the windshield and is looking really uncomfortable. And she's like, what's the matter with you? And he's like, I just get really nervous driving cars because if I move, then all of a sudden I'm 30 years from now traveling 50 miles an hour towards who knows what the fuck. You know, like, it's like,
there's like several, it's such a paradoxical like genre. There's like always like a few different ways people have to approach it. And that is like similar to, I guess, did you guys watch the Harry Potter movies?
I've seen them.
The way they handle time travel in that, it's the same kind where it's a fixed.
Was there time travel in Harry Potter?
In the third one, it's listed as.
They just all run together as like one movie to me.
The third one is definitely the best movie standalone, but it's also you can't really watch any of them.
Is that the Prisoner of
Azkaban?
Yeah. Azkaban, is that it? Well, I can't believe I got it right. That's impressive.
Where it's all like
that.
it's a fixed narrative and it's linear and everything that will happen has happened, and that's like the time traveler's wife.
Yeah,
and this is a much more fantastical version where like you know he falls asleep or he gets knocked unconscious and he goes 800,000 years into the future. But I was gonna say he stops at I thought it was very odd during the movie. He doesn't stop in like modern day New York. I was like, that's interesting. And then I saw it came out in 2002. I was like, never mind, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But he stops in 2032 New York, and I was like, honestly, they kind of nailed it. I could definitely believe this is like 6 years in our future. It's like, the fashion isn't like ridiculous.
Right.
They've got like AI librarians that just help you find whatever you want and
some of them, dude, some of that stuff around that time really did get it pretty close, and like kind of like I think fucking Demolition Man actually has a lot of stuff that's kind of on the nose, you know, like some of them around that particular period, because like further you go back, like your imaginations were just so much more wild, and like once we start, I think it's because once we started to see the growth in technology post the 80s, it gave us a better like frame of like what we can actually expect, you know.
Yeah.
Stuff way back in the day is just like, who fucking flies?
Yeah. I also think that Guy Pearce, like that early 2000s, he kind of had that like surge.
Yeah.
Where like all of a sudden he was a relevant guy. Like he was in LA Confidential and like
Memento. He was like kind of like an indie.
Well, Memento was kind of the end. I mean, basically he was the beginning of a director's career, and then that was kind of the end of his career.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I don't know. I have a soft spot for Guy Pearce. I like him.
Oh no, he's. So I like Guy Pearce,
he's got such an interesting and familiar and rememberable face.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like infinitely a villain in my mind. Like, even though LA Confidential, he's not really a villain. He's even kind of a villain in that movie. But I just think that in my heart, like Guy Pearce, great villain.
Have you ever seen Ravenous?
Yes, I have seen Ravenous.
Yeah,
We've all seen Ravenous. If you like cannibalism, this is the movie for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, soft spot in my heart from childhood and time travel. If those sound fun, my childhood or time travel, you should give it a watch. My parents wanted to go see the new Ghostbusters, and they asked if I wanted to go. So I hurriedly watched Ghostbusters Afterlife, and it was like exactly what I thought it would be. The visual effects are like really good for some reason.
No, and I talked about this movie a little bit last week, but because I rewatched the one before that, I can't remember what it's called.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the other one with Paul Rudd.
Oh yeah, Afterlife. That's what I was talking about now.
Okay,
Afterlife. This was my first time watching Afterlife, and then I was going to talk about
So you just recently watched both of these as well?
Yeah, just last week I watched. Basically back to back. Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
So like, I thought Afterlife was fun. Again, I had all the same like complaints I had going into it of like, why this feels like a love letter to Spielberg, which is weird because he has nothing to do with Ghostbusters. Even the score. So
now that you're bringing it up, I want to touch on a little bit more from last week. So my whole thing with the Ghostbusters deal is that I just heard so much when Harold Ramis was alive about like how he was the driving force, like trying to get a third movie made.
Yeah.
And like, I know he was even working like on a screenplay, like diligently, and like it just never got done. He died. And then all of a sudden, now that he's dead, we finally get these movies, and they're not great movies. Like they're not great, but like fine. They're fine. Like they're fine. And it's like, I feel like I'd rather them make these movies being as like average as they are than to never have made them at all. And I love I mean, you're going to go into it here, but I just love how like even the cameos where it's just like Bill Murray shows up and like, it's like Bill Murray like is acting like Bill Murray, who was hired to show up on set and doesn't really want to be there. And that's the character that he plays in both of these movies. It's just like, he just shows up in sunglasses and just like
it does feel gross that they do the CGI Ramis. I don't know. The
CGI Ramis was a bit much. They didn't need to do that. They really didn't.
Yeah,
I don't know. But also, like, I'm on board with like the Slimer and the Gozer and all those stuff.
No, I love the Gozer throwback because that's something they've not
little things I thought were really fucking stupid and totally didn't make any sense.
Oh no,
yeah.
That's trying to sell toys. Or
yeah.
something.
And then they fucking bring him back in the second one. I'm like, these are so fucking stupid.
They don't make any sense. Yeah,
they don't make any sense because like, oh no, the ghosts are getting out, and what's he see is a bunch of Stay Puffs but the original Stay Puft wasn't a ghost.
Yeah.
And why is he here?
Yeah, it was
It's
silly.
like, what's something cute we can do? I don't know, little Stay Puffs. It's
Yeah,
also like
I
a
mean,
million
that's exactly what that was
Funko
for
Pops or
sure.
whatever. I thought those were easily the dumbest part of that movie, but otherwise, I thought it was.
Well, they come back
Oh, I know.
in the next one.
Get dumber, and that's the other thing. It's like if they're just a cutie little thing in the background, whatever, but they actually affect the storyline. So, like, that's really stupid to me.
Right.
And they do the exact same thing in both the movies.
In some
where the
positives,
character-
you've taken an 80s classic and tried to like revive it using children.
Yeah.
Is like, okay, now the children are Ghostbusters. If you just told me that idea, I'd tell you you are a fucking imbecile and you should not make that movie. And somehow, as a Ghostbuster loyalist, it kind of worked for me.
Yeah. The
you
girl,
know, like,
yeah.
No,
Phoebe.
the girl does actually kind of sell it pretty well.
Yeah, she kind of owns it.
Yeah.
Podcast is like give or take, and then Finn Wolfhard. It's just I'm so kind of done with him. Like, he's just been everywhere. I'm just kind of tired of seeing Finn Wolfhard. You know, he's fine in the movie, and Paul Rudd definitely does.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
I mean,
he does Paul
Carrie
Rudd
Coon
things.
is so fucking hot. Jesus.
Oh yeah.
She was also made the movie a bit more watchable to me.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think anybody would find her hot if they haven't seen all of the leftovers.
You underestimate how many people love MILFs.
Okay. I don't think she falls into the MILF category until you've seen all of the leftovers.
It's true.
You need to see how broken she is, because we've discussed this many times. I like broken chicks.
Everyone loves a broken mom.
That's true. Everybody does like a broken mom. That's absolutely true. You were all raised by one, so.
Afterlife was fun. I thought Frozen Empire was fun-ish, but pretty stupid. And
I thought
it was so fucking convoluted. So much.
I just thought it was more the same of Afterlife, but
more.
they took
just
it back to
more.
the city
Yeah.
to try.
Yeah.
They try to make it feel more like one of the originals by bringing it back to the city, back to the firehouse, which
Parts of it work.
kind of did work. Yeah, it kind of did work.
Then they introduced like 10 new characters. Like every
Yeah.
scene is a new character.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You don't really need
Yeah.
that. Nobody really needs that.
Bottom line, they're not great. Like I said, you're not watching fucking The Godfather. You're not watching On the Waterfront here. But if you like Ghostbusters, I don't think that you need to skip them. I don't.
I wouldn't rush to see Frozen Empire in theaters, which
I would
only
not.
did because someone else was buying my ticket.
Right.
But
I would not.
don't go rushing. There's actually some pretty decent things in theaters this week, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we will get to that.
I watched a fantasy movie called The Fall. But it's fantasy adjacent.
Adjacent.
Have you guys seen this?
No.
It's a generic
No.
title, but if you recognize it, you'd know you'd seen it.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into too much about it. Best not to like build up any kind of
Sure,
expectations or whatever. But I think it's definitely worth a watch.
Okay.
It's very reminiscent of what was just that kind of era of movies that have like a fantastical subplot, but the heart of the movie is not a fantasy film.
Sure. Just
But
using the
Like
setting.
Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, exactly that. That was in my head, literally. It's literally in the right here next to it. But Lee Pace is in it, and I just love Lee Pace. He's so fucking good. Then I watched in theaters The First Omen. It's fine.
Yeah.
There were some very pretty scenes. I would skip it and go see Immaculate instead. I thought Immaculate was. They are weirdly similar movies.
Yeah.
The fact that these movies came out 2 weeks apart, is very odd. Just how reminiscent they are. But I would.
That's how Hollywood works, baby. I bet you
Yeah.
the one that came out first started last.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, The First Omen was definitely a bigger budget, and it's a franchise movie, so it's
Right.
probably been in production longer. But if there was maybe 6 months release in between these two, I feel like one of them would be getting sued. That's how similar they
Right.
feel.
Right.
But yeah, if you like a good demon horror,
Good old fashioned demon horror.
nun movie, go see The First Omen. It is
You and your fucking nuns.
far
man.
more connected to the other Omen movies than I was expecting. I don't know why I was expecting it to be like very subtly connected. It's not. They literally show a picture of Gregory Peck at one point in the movie. And then yesterday,
Wait. What movie did you see?
The First Omen. It's a prequel to The Omen.
Oh, I thought you. Oh, okay.
Immaculate, I saw 2 weeks ago.
Sorry. When you said The First Omen, I thought you meant like
I watched
The Omen.
The First Omen.
I thought like somebody was showing like a throwback like midnight screening of The Omen. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
I wish.
The First Omen. Okay, so there's a prequel of
in
The Omen
theaters that came out last
Got
week
it.
called The First Omen.
Okay, that makes more sense to me now.
Yeah. It's similar to.
You were like, they were showing screenshots of Gregory. I'm like, no, he was actually in the movie.
Yeah, I love how convoluted franchises have become with titles now. Like the Predator series is Predator, Predator 2, Predators, The Predator, and Prey. Those are the 5 movies in the Predator
The next
franchise.
one will be A Predator.
Yeah.
It will be Praise.
I will say at least
Dos Predadores.
Predators, like that does track because it's the first one that there are multiple predators.
Yeah.
But no, it is
and
still
Prey.
is.
The fact that it took them, like 30, 40 years to come up with the title Prey as a sequel to Predator? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Not the brightest.
No.
But yesterday I had a free evening to myself, and I wanted to watch a good movie. And so I decided to continue on the Best Picture journey, and I watched The French Connection.
Yeah, I saw that's actually been high on my watch list for a while, so I was kind of bummed to see that you got that one because
used to checking for that.
Yeah, but no, haven't seen it. Want to see it? Love Gene Hackman. He's got another movie,
The Conversation.
The Conversation that's on that list that I haven't checked out yet. So
yeah, I definitely should have checked. I was going to watch The English Patient, and I just couldn't do it. I was like, not feeling a 2.5 hour long slow English drama.
Yeah,
I think that
I'm sure I'll like it. It's just
I'm
a
not
lot. You
like
know?
it's I'm in this weird spot because The English Patient was like it was just at its time slammed the same way you slam like like Green Book or whatever like Best Picture nominee or winner that like you think was undeserving. I think that like I only saw English Patient once, but I thought it was a good enough movie. I just think that people it's like they tell you it was the best movie of the year, and so they expect their expectations are so high, and then you watch it, it's like, okay, it's just a movie with a pretty okay story that's kind of well done, like, and I didn't hate The English Patient. I actually remember enjoying The English Patient.
I'm sure I'll like it. It's just that it's like the homework because it's like it's on a list of movies I have to watch. There's some amount of resistance. I'm like, but I don't want
well,
to.
it is, dude, a 2.5 hour English drama. I mean, English drama is a lot to get. You got to be in the right mindset. You got to be in the right mood.
Speaking of one of the Fiennes brothers, though, I had this realization the other day. I was kind of going through my watch list. We were looking for a movie, and like I was like, I've never seen Strange Days, and I always wanted to see Strange Days. And like I was looking, it's like it's like $15 on Vudu or something. It's like, I'll wait. So like I wait a few weeks, and it's like now I go to look the other day, and like you can't get it anywhere now. It's like you can't even get it for $15 on Vudu. Like you type in Strange Days for Vudu and you get Stranger Than Fiction. Like there's like, nope, this doesn't even exist here anymore. You go to Just Watch, and they're just like, this isn't streaming. You're like, fuck, what happened? So the rights shifted or something.
Yeah.
For some reason, there's just some movies that are always connected in my head, and I get them confused for a while until I watched The Conversation a couple years ago. The Conversation and The French Connection were like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
I couldn't actually tell them apart.
The old 70s Gene Hackman movies that or like heralded.
Yeah. Dark City and Strange Days are those two of those movies for me where I haven't actually seen either one, and so like
Dark City is a really good movie.
Until I stop and think about
really
it, I
good
can't
movie.
like
I've
tell
been
them
wanting to
apart.
rewatch that myself. I haven't seen that movie in ages.
Oh,
and
also
ages.
in my defense, I did text you yesterday to see if you would watch a movie with me. So, it's
Was
not
that
my
yesterday?
fault you didn't watch The French Connection with me. Yes, it was yesterday.
Yeah, I don't have any free days for the next few months.
I know. I was just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah, French Connection.
Unless it's a Friday night.
I would say it's a pretty slow burn. But the ending, man, really, really fucking, they stuck the landing. It was
nice.
good time. Recommend it. I will say I started the movie on my Vudu, and the Vudu said it was like high definition, and I felt like I could literally count the pixels, so I turned it off and remembered that I had the Blu-ray, so I put the Blu-ray on, and it looked much better. So those digital resources are not always as reliable.
They just do that to sell you the 4K version.
Yeah.
That's what
Let
they're
me
trying
tell
to.
you, I spent $40 and I bought the 4K. I showed them a lesson.
Yeah. And they're going to get you to update that virtual copy as well.
Yeah, so that's about it for me.
All right, I don't have a whole lot. John Brown and I watched. I don't think we talked about this. Like we watched Streets of Fire.
Oh yeah, we did finally watch that.
The movie from the director of The Warriors.
Yeah.
And I think he and I had kind of the same take on it, which is there's one difference between this movie and The Warriors, and it's that
Chicks.
the lead they got for this movie is fucking atrocious.
Yeah,
He's
he's
so
real-
bad.
like,
Like
he's
every
bad.
time he opens his mouth, you just want to kill him.
Yeah.
It's
he's just
so
holding
bad.
the script in front of his
Yeah,
face.
for sure.
Yeah.
It was
you
really
can
rough.
tell he sold it on his looks. I don't know. I think
Yeah,
I don't know.
100%. He had that
He's
lady.
Denise
He had that
Richards.
80s bad boy look.
Yeah.
like a bad
That's
boy
what they
model.
wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is weird because like you've seen Mindhunter, right?
I have not.
You've not. God damn it. Just he is now like super like man, not in
Yeah.
like a gross toxic way,
Right,
but like
right.
he's like a big tough guy now, and to see him in this early role as basically like a male model in a trench coat, is
Yeah.
very odd.
Yeah, it was pretty not good. In other stuff, a couple of sequels I saw. I saw well, I guess this is actually a prequel. The Hunger Games.
Ballad of
snakes and
songbirds and
yeah.
snakes.
So, anyway, I think that's all I have to say about that.
I watched it.
Yeah, I watched it. I don't know. It just goes to show, like, with the whole Hunger Games.
I mean, again, it's a teen drama.
Well,
like, teen drama
kind
book.
of.
Well, I mean, the books, I'm pretty sure, like young
Yeah, they
adult,
are.
you know,
They
young
are.
adult
I
dramas.
think the movies kind of. I mean, the whole story is like kind of post-apocalyptic. You're throwing teens into kind of a, like murder rampage party.
Yeah.
So like the actors kind of have to be teens. I think my real issue with this is you just see that this world doesn't work without like who I think is the greatest living actress right now. And like I think that's what the original trilogy kind of had going for it, is they had the best actress on the planet. And you take that out of the whole equation, and you also take away Donald Sutherland, and all of a sudden
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman dies. Like all of a sudden, it's just kind of a
Julian
bland-
Moore. That series, the people they got for that series is kind of
no,
nuts.
like you take all that out, and it's just kind of like a bland sci-fi series.
Yeah.
It played
Yeah.
like that. I saw Kung Fu Panda 4. Shout out to James Hong. It was a sequel to a Kung Fu Panda movie.
Yeah, it was Kung Fu-y and Panda-y.
The one thing I will say, I think that this movie probably is going to get like nicked just for being like the fourth entry in an animated.
Yeah, they can only go so long.
You can
before
only go
they
so.
start to
I
just,
will
like-
say though, I just want to show some love for Aquafina, because this Asian comedian Aquafina. I've only seen her in a few things, but everything I've ever seen her in, she has been hilarious, and her timing is brilliant. And I think that she's like a future star. Like I Like,
I mean, she's been in like 5 movies a year the last.
I just feel like I'm always entertained by her on screen, no matter what she's doing.
Have you seen The Farewell?
I have not. Is she also in that? Because I'll probably watch it.
It's a drama, and she is the lead in it, and she's fantastic.
I just feel like she's been good in everything I've seen. Like Crazy Rich Asians, like
she was very good in that.
Yeah, and it's just like that seems like a movie that shouldn't be good. Like if you just tell me the title, and I'm like, I'm not gonna see that because that sounds like a movie that wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
And then I saw the movie, I'm like, that's actually surprisingly kind of good, and I think she's a huge reason for that. And then outside of that, those are the only movies I watched really in the last 2 weeks. I did catch up on a couple of series. Foundation, I finally finished the 2nd season of that, and man, this series, it's taken the longest to watch the first 2 seasons that I've ever taken to watch any series, and like, I don't know why, man. Every time I'm watching an episode, like nothing else in the world exists.
Is that the Apple TV? Like
it's Apple TV dystopian. It is the most sci-fi series I've ever seen. And I used to say that about what's the one with the fucking belters and
The Expanse.
The Expanse. I used to say that about The Expanse. To me, this is totally like blaze past The Expanse as far as like being the most sci-fi series. And I think that a lot of that is on the heels of the 2nd season. They didn't just like give me more of the same in season 2. They like built on the world and fucking did what The Expanse didn't really do, which is expand.
Yeah.
And then also
it's also like Dune adjacent in that it's like it could be in our like world, but it's like so far in the future they're not even talking about Earth and stuff.
Yeah.
So the thing that I love about this as a series, it's all built around science, and it's all kind of built around one scientist who basically used math to predict the future. And that's kind of the whole deal, is like he basically is like the most intelligent guy ever to live. He came up with basically a math equation that he could put into like a system that he built to where it would be able to accurately predict the future. And like to the point to where like this is a trajectory that we're on, and these are things that we can do to change it basically had every possible outcome. It's like what Christians think that fucking God has, is like a roadmap to every possible angle. And basically he created it with science, and that's what makes it so fucking interesting.
His like equation isn't to change the future; it is to survive the future.
Yes,
like come out on top.
Exactly.
And he's like trying to get basically the empire of the universe to go along with it.
What's fucking crazy is that he was so smart and so technologically like before his time. As you get into the 2nd season, you're now like, from where you started, you're like hundreds of years from where they are. And like the story's still going, and like he's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, even though he's been there for hundreds of years, it 100% scientifically makes sense every time of why he's still here. It's just like, fuck! I thought you were gone for good. Now you're back.
Yeah.
How are you here? And then he explains it, and it's like, fuck, I don't see any holes in that.
Yeah.
God damn it. Again.
Right.
And it's
the guy's died like 6 times now.
He's
he keeps coming
arguably
back.
like not the lead. Though he is like obviously the main focus.
Yeah, it's a couple of younger actresses that
like
I have not
family
seen.
line kind of. But they also got a very good actor to play him. Speaking of Mad Men, I loved his character in Mad Men. He's Jared.
Oh yeah, that guy's fantastic.
Very recognizable.
No, he's the lead in this series. He's the genius.
Jared Harris.
Yeah. No, he like, I love him. I love him in everything I've ever seen him in.
I've never seen any kind of it's super tight for as far as that guy goes.
And then the other thing, we been on Sunday. We basically woke up. We woke up early. I don't know why. and we watched Three Body Problem, the new Netflix series.
I started that. It's really
we,
solid.
yeah, we just literally woke up early, like I mean I think we were up by like before 9 on a Sunday, and we just started it. We just watched the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah,
Over
I got
the
about
course- over the
like
course of
2
it.
episodes in.
Yeah,
What I saw was
it's really good.
fantastic.
It's just another really smart sci-fi series.
Some
And,
similarities to Foundation too, right? A long timeline. On
yes,
the show.
there is a long timeline on the show. Outside of that, it is kind of different.
Yeah.
But it's still a good series in its own right, and I think we're gonna they kind of set it up to where we're gonna see a season 2. So we'll see how that goes.
Nice.
Oh, also one more thing, we've been watching Shogun. I think there's like 1 or 2 episodes left. We're doing the week by week thing. Really fucking good series on. I think it's
I've heard nothing
Hulu.
good about it.
Hulu,
FXX.
yeah, really good,
X,
and
X,
it got
X,
me
X, X.
into a false
F,
sense of
triple X.
security. Where my wife is, it's actually the one thing that she looks forward to the most is the new, like she can't wait for the next episode of Shogun, and so it's just like, you know what, there's a little bit of window. I'm gonna watch a samurai movie with her. So I watched ckery with her. She hated it. She's just like, it's just like, I think that the people gutting themselves was a little bit much.
Maybe you
Well,
could watch.
And
it's-
there's a fair bit of that.
Well, it's funny because I know she enjoys anime a good amount, and like so much of like, even though it's not so visceral a lot of the time in anime, like that idea is still pretty present in almost any kind of Japanese story ever. Like just
I
the,
thought we
the
were-
self-sacrifice and tenacity and fucking
Yeah.
all that. Like that's a default Japanese.
I thought we
line.
were doing well, and then the scene where the dude tries to like basically is forced to gut himself with a wooden sword.
Yeah.
That scene kind of lost her, and
Yeah.
it was very evident
Right.
that we kind of lost her. It's like, yeah,
You could
this one's kind of hard for me to watch too, so I kind of get it, but
Right.
I
You
thought
could try more of the Japanese samurai war epics. Like
yeah, you would think a movie made in the 1960s wouldn't get to a point where it would gross somebody out in today's
Yeah.
world, but that movie fucking goes hard.
They
man.
probably like had him hold a dead pig and then they just
Yeah,
cut the dead pig
yeah,
over.
yeah.
It's probably grosser than stuff
Yeah,
we'd see now.
for sure. Just real. It's a fucking
No,
thing.
I wish, man. There's this like, so he's got this wooden sword and he's trying to commit harakiri with a wooden sword.
Yeah.
And so there's this scene where he's like literally trying to puncture his fucking flesh with a wooden sword, and like you're feeling it. You're
Yeah.
feeling like, oh, that one bruised. Like, oh, that one fucking like that probably made you want to throw up. But it's like it didn't pierce the skin though. It's just like, how much pressure do you have to put on a piece of wood to make it puncture your belly so that you can drag it all the way across?
Yeah, just
Because they
care.
won't chop your head off to end it until they've seen it go all the way across.
Yeah.
Dude, you should watch Harakiri.
Japanese people.
You just leave.
They're intense.
Just like I just if that was me,
It's like made in
do
the early
this.
60s, and it's one of the most disgusting
Nah,
movies
I'm
I've
out.
ever seen.
Bye.
Not if you're Japanese. It's not how they work, man.
Fuck honor, man.
They are fucking intense, dude.
That'd be a good tattoo. Fuck honor.
Fuck honor.
It's if you ever get into a bar argument with an Asian person, just tell them that they have no honor. That'll get them.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll get you fucking jumped probably.
So anyway, we've come to the point where we got to talk about our
The movie.
the feature, which is
Yeah.
Double, and it's on John Brown. John Brown chose
Brown.
Starship Troopers, and I think at the end of if you listen to the last episode,
Yeah, I did switch gears a
we
little
did
bit.
switch gears, and we paired it with District 9, which I think was a brilliant move. I think District 9 is a fantastic film.
Yeah.
I'd only seen it once, and so Starship Troopers I'd seen multiple times, and so it's like, you know, it's not as exciting when you've seen the movie a million times and stuff, but like District 9 I'd only seen once, and so I was looking forward to the rewatch, and it did not disappoint. So John Brown, I assume you want to start with Starship Troopers?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, for me, like, I've seen Starship Troopers a million times, too. I grew up on the shit, for sure. I grew up on big sci-fi like that, and I've always loved, like, one of the most formative sci-fi movies for me is Aliens, and a lot of the books I read and stuff like that when I was young. I love fucking action-y, shoot-'em-up sci-fi epics. I can't get enough of the shit, and to me, Starship Troopers is such a good example of that. And I watch the shit every couple years, and I love it every single time. But to me, man, it's just it's classic. It's simple, but I think there's a lot of really interesting things happening in the story. It's super satisfying. By the end of it, I think just it delivers on all fronts. Basically, it's some kids in a totalitarian society, which of course, like to all Americans just means the devil. And one of the interesting things in this movie is that the society is like functioning like perfectly fine across all degrees. Like you've got, it's all about being a citizen. If you want to interact with the society, if you're not a citizen, then you don't get to make decisions. You don't get to be put in positions of power. But it expresses with the main character's family that they still have affluence and wealth and get to do pretty much whatever they want. So it's just like citizenship just means control politically. So it's a group of kids fresh out of what would be like their high school, getting into, their lives coming upon them, and they're a pretty good cross-section of kids. The main character, Johnny Rico, is definitely the meathead. He's the sports star, and then his girlfriend's the pretty typical, well, actually, she's not very typical because she's smarter than the chick that she actually is. She's played by Denise Richards, so she's the typical
She smiles
chick.
A full tooth smile in every
Dude,
scene.
so that's one thing. Forewarning,
she's the human version of a blow-up doll.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, and that's exactly why she got roles in movies, basically, One thing to be prepared for in this movie, be prepared for some fucking teeth, buddy. All right? There's a lot of teeth.
There are a lot of teeth.
A lot of teeth.
Jake Busey himself.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Just
the man
teeth
is 90% teeth.
everywhere.
All the Buseys.
Yeah. But yeah, so these kids get out of high school, and then they place where they're going to go. Johnny's family wants them to not join the military, wants them to fucking go to college, make money, yada, yada, yada. But he's so stuck on Denise Richards that he's just got to go in the military, while he's got this other super smoking chick that clearly just, like, wants his dick super bad. Almost,
Yeah, she's thirsty.
Yeah. Almost called for a put your vagina away.
And like, kind of just, like, all out sexier than Denise Richards in almost every way.
Well, as far as the character too, just like such a better match.
Yeah.
But like we said, this was a.
But he's kind of, like you said, he's kind of a meathead. He probably doesn't deserve the better match. He probably deserves Denise Richards,
Yeah. Yeah, he's just completely oblivious, So, we talked about it being a fucking young adult book. And the focus is young adults getting into the situation they get into, which joins up in the military while there's kind of an issue developing, or has been developing, with
do you want
bugs.
the
Let's get the
letterbox?
synopsis. Yeah, let's do that. Got ahead of myself.
1997 Starship Troopers, Paul Verhoeven, directed by Paul Verhoeven. It is not currently streaming on any services, but it's available to buy in all the normal places. Set in the future, the story follows a young soldier named Johnny Rico and his exploits in the mobile infantry.
Most fucking meat-headed name ever.
I'm very curious if it gets more into it in the book that his last name's Rico and is he from Buenos Aires?
Yeah.
It's like, so what happened to Buenos Aires in this alternate future? I guess it just got like colonized, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't know fucking how. I don't think they give any timeline as far.
I don't
as, like,
remember
when
any
it
timeline,
is.
but obviously it's got to be.
But I mean, that's what fucking happens.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, I remember there was a day. I think I was talking to Tommy about South Africa, and I pointed out like that like white people don't belong there. He's like, what? There's white people in South Africa. Like,
all white people. South Africa was like all white people.
Yeah, but they didn't come from there. They didn't go. There are not white people in Africa that naturally exist in Africa. That's a colonized. That's why they all are British. Like, that's what white people do. So that's how he's John Rico, white guy in Buenos Aires.
Rico's military career progresses from recruit to non-commissioned officer and finally to officer against the backdrop of an interstellar war between mankind and an arachnoid species known as the bugs.
Yeah.
And the tagline is, "The only good bug is a dead bug."
Yeah, it's pretty classic as far as the setup. You got a big bad guy, ever-present bad guy that everybody's got to rally behind, and it's a threat to humanity. And it's pretty much like
the bugs?
Huh? Yeah, the bugs.
Oh, okay,
yeah. The bugs are the.
You said the bad guy.
The bugs are the bad guy. Again, it's like, there are multiple bugs, but they are the baddies.
Yeah.
The same as, and it plays into, the political fucking dynamic that you see through history. That there's always like the bad guy.
There's always something to be afraid
a
of.
looming threat that you have to act against, and a lot of the aesthetic here is, again, we talked about it being a totalitarian society, so a lot of the aesthetic is very reminiscent of like Nazi Germany and stuff like that. It's all about the military being in control and being at the head of every decision. But
the most honorable thing you can do is serve in the military and
yeah, for sure.
Honor.
Yep, back to that honor. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's a classic story, but like I said, it's fucking satisfying, man. As every moment, like, the worst thing for this movie is the cast. It's not a great cast. There's some pretty decent guys in there amidst. I think Dizzy, she does pretty good performance.
You go a bit further down too. Clancy Brown is pretty great.
There's some solid dudes in
I
there.
like Clancy Brown.
The main characters are a little like
Casper Van Dien and Denise Richards leave a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
Neil Patrick Harris of the leads is probably the most tolerable. And he's
but he's a pretty
like
small role in this film.
He's here or there.
Time.
Yeah, he's an important character, but it focuses on Johnny.
On the meatheads.
Yeah,
it's all about the meatheads.
Meatheads in the pilot, because of course the meatheads are the ones doing the dying, as he says in the movie. But all throughout the movie, man, it's pretty satisfying, even with some like subpar performances, like as subpar as they can get with Denise Richards. It's still pretty easy to fucking just laugh at and have a good time while you watch it. But
yeah, she's terrible. Those chompers, man.
Dude,
like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it's just the fact that she has to brace herself for
every shot. It's like she's trying to get on the poster or something.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, she has three facial expressions, like just smiling like a fool, kind of concerned, maybe a little confused. That's
smiling while happy, smiling while excited, and smiling while confused. Those are her three emotions.
Yeah. As far as just like the aesthetic of like the future, not like a huge stretch. It almost felt like more like throwback. Like I got like very like 50s values, like 50s vibes with the clothes and really kind of like the values, like I got a real 50s vibe from the whole aesthetic of
that
what
political
this future should be.
Yeah, it's I don't know, kind of, they did a pretty great job in that it's like a 90s it's like a 50s lens on a 90s like soap opera.
It's
pretty crazy.
I buy that. I think that's a good description.
Yeah.
All the presentation of the technology and the ships are all very like, it holds true. Nothing feels like super wacky or out of place. Everything tracks pretty well as far as just the aesthetic and the functionality of everything you see. There's not a lot of holes in how any of the stuff works. Nothing's too much of a stretch. The visuals are fantastic throughout. Watching the movie again, I was just waiting to find something that didn't hold up. But to me, visually, there was nothing that didn't hold up. And for it being a 97 sci-fi flick with the CGI that it used, and you would expect some parts just not to hold up, really. But to me, they do every time.
The effects, especially, really held up. And I don't think I appreciated the first time I watched. I don't think I appreciated the movie much at all the first time I watched it.
Right.
But I don't think I appreciated the really nice blend of practical and CGI.
Oh no, it's super good, man. It's seamless in a lot of instances. Like you see somebody get struck across the chest by one of these bugs, which these bugs are like, they're arachnoid, but I mean, their legs are arachnoid, but the rest of them does not look. They're like a beetle spider, basically. If you've never seen them, they're pretty fucking iconic. But like kind of a beetle spider. But they've got these two big fucking chompers. Again, teeth. All the bugs are basically all teeth. But there's scenes where they like slash across somebody's chest, and it's like full CGI bug slashing, and then practical effects on the chest tearing open, and it's perfectly smooth, perfectly seamless.
Yeah.
A lot of the prosthetic bodies and stuff and the corpses are all really solid too.
Some of the bugs shoot fire, and there's a couple like really well done.
Yeah, really good
shots.
transitions.
Like one person of getting their arm melted off, and like I don't know, I couldn't catch where the transition was in that scene.
No,
it was really good.
Yeah, it was perfect because she gets her arm melted off by this big ass bug that's all CGI spewing this CGI fire, and it's like she turns as her arm's melting, and somebody just grabs her, and she's got a prosthetic arm that looks perfectly fucking sound as far as this goes. Yeah, I mean, the visuals in this movie just hold the fuck up. One level of how what makes this movie so satisfying too, to me, is the pacing. Like, I thought it was a longer movie than it was, and it's not. It's only about a 2-hour film, but they jam a shit ton of stuff in there, but you don't feel that it's too much. You don't feel that nothing was covered enough. Like, everything feels right where it should be. Yeah. And that's, I think, Paul Verhoeven is doing there, like, just structuring the film in a way that it all just makes sense, and it's super fluid for what the story is. Yeah, man, it's because it's pretty much a whirlwind. Like, these kids get out of school and they get into boot camp where they're training, and then it goes right into this military conflict, where they at first get their fucking asses handed to them, and then eventually start to try a little bit harder. It's introduced that the bugs are not just bugs, and that there's a lot more to them than that. And we basically have to figure out how to counteract their actual intelligence, and that touches on, like, basically, our two species vying for control of our galaxy, as far as the space available. But yeah, it's fucking killer, man. To me, it's, if you've never seen this movie, as far as a sci-fi, it's fucking classic, and everybody should. And it's just always satisfying, especially as the action movie that it is. Man, just watching those bugs get blown apart, fucking satisfying. Like, all the effects are satisfying. Like, it's fucking good, man. I don't have anything bad to say about this movie other than it could have used a better cast as far as its main, but still they hold true, for what it is. And they all, for what their abilities are, I think it works for the characters and what they needed. Like, Casper Van Dien plays a fucking pretty boy dipshit. Like, all right, well, there you go.
Yeah, I find it weird that, like, they kind of have this, like, weird version of football, like it's almost like arena style football.
Yeah,
they're playing, and like in this like arena football, like guys are doing like flips and like all these like acrobatic moves, and like you don't really see those translate to the battlefield at all.
Well, you do see Johnny do it a little bit, not very often. You get it out of the main character, but I think, to me, I thought about that when we were watching that scene, and I think that's just kind of a way to establish, like, to set them up to be able to handle the situation that's coming, like.
Yeah, it makes sense also in that, like, you can't be breeding, like, just tanks, because, like, you're not going to out-muscle these bugs,
right.
It makes much more sense
if
the battle did lean a little more towards agile.
Right. Yeah, I took it basically as they're just like, okay, everything's more badass. These guys are just badass, or football's more badass. Yeah. It's on fucking hard ground, and you're fucking checking people all the time, and it's just, I think that's just what it is. Like, this society's just, and again, it's like, it's a military society, so it's just like fucking military football, just badass. Everything being pushed to the limits, and some of that stuff. Some of the things in the book they didn't catch. I'm pretty sure in the books too, like when they go to war, they actually have like full fucking, like not mech suits, but a lot of like extra technology to help them like boost and jump and shit like that. But I really dug the scene with Ironside. Plays a teacher, Johnny's teacher in school, and he's one of my favorite characters because he's just a solid guy the entire movie, like the best teacher ever. There's an opening.
It's time to go to war, but you can go ahead and get that nookie for another 10 minutes.
Yeah. Now
I like you, kid.
In school, he's teaching politics. He's teaching fucking social sciences, and he's pressing the kids what it means to be a citizen, what the ramifications therein, but the entire time he's still just trying to get them to make the decisions. And Rico ends up coming up to him like, should I join? And he says, fucking do what you feel is right, but don't feel pressured. But just, I really dig the film's approach on a totalitarian society, because it's interesting that somebody presents one as like functioning and not pure evil. Even though there is like, I've always heard, and this is why I wanted to read the book, because there's always like, oh, well, the guy that wrote it is racist, and it's all like an homage to Nazi politics and all this and that. Honestly, like, there's these two movies, not to give any spoilers, there's way more racism in District 9.
Yeah.
I mean, like, really brutal racism in District 9, actually. No, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff happening in Starship Troopers if you dig a little bit deeper than the surface of it just being an action flick. It begs some interesting questions and touches on some interesting subjects. And, I mean, briefly, so you just kind of have to spend as much time thinking about it as you want to, but I think it does a little bit of that. But yeah, all together, man, I think it's fucking killer.
I think it definitely helps to remember that it's like directed by a non-American, and it feels so much like tongue-in-cheek, like a very blatant criticism of like this. Especially the fact that to me I don't know, I really don't think the actors did a good job, but something about them being the meta knowledge that they're all soap opera actors,
right?
And the interstitials throughout the movie of commercials and like click to learn more. Right, it's like it really just feels like an in-world propaganda film of this war, which like just works. It makes it like
it works for that too, and just the same way that we were talking about Back to the Future. Like honestly, that's a degree on the nose too for just our modern society. Is that like it feels like an in-house propaganda movie inside of this movie. But at the same time, like, look at our current society where that's really all anything fucking is look at this, click on this. Yeah, I mean,
that also, that's the most accurate part of the movie.
Yeah, like everybody just consumes fucking video all the time, so that's, but it's, I don't know, it's good. I mean, I could rave about this movie for days, man. If a person hasn't seen it, I definitely say see it. It's got its flaws, it's not perfect, but the production of it is really good. That's after the watch the other day, that's the takeaway I had. Is just, man, the movie making in this movie is fucking, to me, really, really solid for what it is, for it being the big sci-fi epic that it is.
I didn't realize Paul Verhoeven was the director of Hollow Man, and I've heard that movie also has some like surprisingly very impressive visual effects.
Yeah, no, I remember it.
Now I kind of want to go watch that.
So that does it for Starship Troopers, I suppose.
It's like the rapey Invisible Man.
Yeah, super.
That always rapey. Just kind of ends up being the vibe of the Invisible Man.
Yeah, it's just like...
I'm gonna rape you.
Nobody can see me. What should I do? I should rape somebody. I can get away with it.
Look at naked women.
You're just kind of a fucked up human being to begin with. This is where you land on it. You can do anything. I guess I'll just rape somebody.
Yeah.
You do anything, get away with it. That's what you go with. Fuck. Yeah. People like humanity's fucked, man.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of. I mean, for the films that this guy makes, that's pretty much like a concurrent theme.
He's made some shit, man.
Because even like RoboCop is still pretty well like, humanity's fucked. Like most of his movies that he's done, more serious or less serious, it's a lot of like, humanity's fucked. Humanity's just not great.
Yeah. And, RoboCop is also just so relevant.
Yeah, no, I just rewatched that the other day, and the intro scene sets up the world via commercials, basically. And again, it's just, as our society gets older, like, dude, that's where we've gone. And we saw it coming, and it's absolutely here. Like, that's all anything is advertising and marketing and shit being thrown in your face. Go get gas. Goddamn TV playing you advertisements as you get gas now.
Yeah,
like, it's fucking out of hand. Like, we've always known where we're going with this shit.
Yeah.
But all right, so yeah, Starship Troopers, watch it. It's a kick-ass movie, super fun, super satisfying. See some bugs get killed, some fucking fantastic visual effects, really good pacing. It's sweet. So next up is District 9, which is by Blomkamp. Is that how you say the guy's name?
Blomkamp? Yeah, I don't know. It's an
Prawns, baby, prawns.
Yeah.
District 9, 2009, directed by Neil Blomkamp.
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 There's a P in there. It's a funny name.
It is currently streaming on Amazon, or not Amazon, but AMC Plus, and available to buy in all the normal places. Yeah, Blomkamp.
Blom.
Did I say Blomkamp?
Sound like a P. So just Blom.
Blomkamp.
Okay. Blomkamp. Okay.
So, 30 years ago, aliens arrive on Earth, not to conquer or give aid, but to find refuge from their dying planet, separated from
I don't
humans.
even really know that exactly.
I missed actually
Yeah.
that part that it's like the last of their kind.
I don't think they actually really express that like in the movie. I just remember like
Taking the
just
liberties with this synopsis here.
No, I think
Well,
they. I think
I
they
know
are.
this movie is based on a short film of the same name. It's kind of like an extension of the movie, and that
Okay.
I guess there is.
they get into some details and stuff.
There is
Okay.
a scene towards the end where the one,
Christopher. I
yeah,
think is
Christopher.
The, yeah.
What the fuck, man? There's one intelligent alien. His name is Christopher.
I mean,
which is a fucking human name, which is a little self-indulgent for like the
Christopher?
the most intelligent alien. His name is Christopher.
Christopher?
And anyway, Christopher.
Do you want me to finish the thing?
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Separated from humans in a South African area called District 9, the aliens are managed by Multinational United, which is unconcerned with the aliens' welfare, but will do anything to master their advanced technology. When a company field agent contracts a mysterious virus that begins to alter his DNA, there's only one place he can hide. District 9. And the tagline is, "You are not welcome here."
Yeah, you could see it on the
Yeah.
on there. So no. What I was gonna say is there was he did make a mention towards the end of the film that like that going home was not an option.
Yeah, okay. There was
he
that,
did
yeah.
make a mention that they
Yeah.
could never go home.
right. I do
So, like,
remember
his-
that now.
I don't know, like tiny sidekick child.
There's his child. Yeah.
Yeah, like he basically telling his child like yeah, we can never go home.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Yeah. No, I remember that now. You don't get that
But-
until the end of the film.
Yeah, and it's very vague.
Yeah.
Very vague. So
No, really, like that's one thing that's I've always thought is super interesting about this setup. When it throws you into the story, like there really isn't any good reason. They just show up and they're just there, and they're not what you expect at all. And like you said, there's one that's intelligent. I mean, not. They're all kind of goons. Like
no, this is
every
a shit show.
every prawn that the people in South Africa decide to call them because they look like
Prawns.
shrimp, kind of. Yeah, they look like prawns. Yeah, they're mostly kind of just.
They
not-
tell us that they are called prongs. They said they make it sound like prongs is basically a racial slur.
It's
Yeah,
derogatory.
But then
Okay,
it's
yeah.
all they refer to them by. So it's
Yeah.
like, well, I feel you're basically making me use the like
Oh
describe
no! I mean,
them as the
dude, that's what I
the
was
slur.
saying. Like, there's so
There's
much.
even a
like,
scene where it's like,
overt
why do they
racism.
call them prawns? Like, well, I mean, that's what they look like.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, there was just like utter fucking disdain, and I mean, and they do identify like one thing I do like about this movie is the transition, because at first it's pretty much like a mockumentary about what happened when they came here, and then as the story picks up, it just kind of shifts into just a film where
Basically,
you're just
the
experiencing the
film
story.
crew of this documentary gets caught up in the action, then it turns into a full-fledged movie.
yeah, and then they bring it back later. But they do establish like that it just went to shit basically immediately, and that for sure fucking tracks. Like they didn't really try that hard to take care of them or understand them. They're just like, all right, here you go. But there's like they said, there's millions of them, so
Yeah.
I mean, that's like
And they multiply
they're
fast.
kind of doomed for that. But no, yeah, there are all kinds of like utter disdain for these things. Like there's a scene when the first sequence of events after you get introduced to the characters, The main character played by what's that dude's name? I love that guy.
Charlton Copley.
Yeah, that dude.
Wickus is
Yeah,
Wickus.
Who's a really unassuming, just like office staff guy, like just this fucking kind of dorky dude.
Kind of like low key unbearable though. not a super likable guy. Mainly because half the stuff you're seeing him do is be like disgustingly racist.
Dude, he's like a
prongs.
he's an awkward dude that's not super likable anyway, and then you see him the worst possible setting in light, and he's not really doing anything good for any good intention until the very end. Until the very end of this movie, he's pretty much just self-serving, gives no fuck about anything, and just generally not very likable. The character absolutely is not. But the first thing they do is they are evicting all these guys from their fucking shanty town that they gave them to put them in
they're
even
going
more
door
of a
to door.
concentration camp.
in the slum/prison camp.
Yeah, they're already in a concentration camp basically, and they're trying to evict them to
A nicer,
more of a concentration camp,
Yeah.
basically.
A cleaner
also
one,
a
not
concentration
even
camp, but out of town.
Yeah,
Where we don't have to see you.
Get the fuck out of here. That's what they want. But yeah, one of the first things he's doing is he goes door to door. He comes upon, this is how he gets the infection, is he finds a, well, no, it's a little bit like
I just want to jump in here, John.
Yeah.
My favorite part of this movie, and I actually kind of love this movie. My favorite part of this movie are the subtitles.
Oh, no, yeah, the conversations,
for the aliens, because he just goes door to door and basically tells them that they're being evicted. And the best part of the movie to me are the reactions that we get the subtitles, which he can't really understand what they're saying.
No, that's
but
so that's
only
like
us
an
at home
outline
can.
of what they're saying.
yeah. So that's what's weird. I think like you kind of get the impression that he mostly knows what they're saying, but how could he know? Or like, yeah, they know what he's saying. He mostly knows what they're saying, but there's nothing to say anybody else has
No.
any idea what these guys are
No,
saying.
like
at
when he
all,
meets
so-
the Christopher guy, the guy's just like, "Wait, why am I being evicted?" It's like, "Oh, this guy can actually understand what he's saying."
Yeah.
He's like, "It says here that I have 30 days," and it's just like, "Yeah, just sign there." And it's just like, okay, both understand what is happening, but they're not actually communicating with each
yeah,
other
at all. No, and it's hilarious too because there's no rationale for how that even works. In this world, like, how do either of them know what the fuck either are saying? How can the alien read fucking English? How can it understand English at this point? Like,
I mean, they've been there long enough.
30
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
but still, like,
aliens have grown up there.
it would have been interesting to see, like, some part of that process because, like, it's like they're so vastly different that it would have taken. I mean, yeah, 30 years is a long time, but you're like fucking dealing with like clicks and gurgles here.
Yeah, I don't know how you would learn an alien language. Them learning English or being able to read English feels a lot more plausible.
Yeah, because they have like a higher level of technology
Him,
and stuff.
I think it makes sense, or he understands like maybe a handful of words and just kind of
right.
lies
the
to his
impression
upper
Yeah.
people. It's like, no,
Yeah, but-
I speak their language.
Yeah, no, most of the humans clearly have no fucking clue what's going on. It seems. But yeah, one of the first things that happens is he finds a place where they're birthing children of theirs, and like it's a really crazy setup. Like they have to harvest a bunch of shit and do like manufacture these pods and fill them with stuff and like fucking rot out full live animals to feed what's in these pods. But like he just goes in and just like, we got a big find here. Like, you fuckers are breeding. Like, and he just starts pulling the plug on these babies. Like, watch this. And then he fucking
Gleefully
burn it down.
aborts a whole shed of
aborting a
babies.
shit ton of them. They're laughing as
It's
they're
like,
burning the fucking
you're a
building
pump.
down.
That means
it's
they're
like
dead.
full on. Just these things aren't real. They
Yeah.
don't matter. They don't count.
Oh, yeah.
So much racism.
Yeah.
Poor prawns. But again, the prawns that you see, and this is why like the movie works really well and it's super entertaining. But it does like it leaves me wanting to see like I want to see like 15 years ago. I want to see this stuff start because like you don't get a good impression of prawns outside of this one guy because they're all pretty much just like.
I mean, if you think about a ship that was holding 1 million humans, how many of the humans would be just civilians?
Well, yeah,
We'd have
no,
no
yeah,
clue
yeah,
what to
for
do.
sure. No, it's like the bottom. I don't know what the barrel looks like, but most of them you see seem to be the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
But then they're put into a really bad situation. I think that also is like touching on what happens when you force people into a ghetto too.
Yeah,
Like,
they don't have access to their schools.
Yeah,
their
they're
medicines,
showing you the worst of this species, but that species has been forced into fucking an awful ghetto since day one.
Yeah.
So then, how much of it is?
Does
them...
it say why they like? Are there people actually living on the ship?
No, the ship is. They express that they move all of the aliens from the ship
to the ground. Okay.
Because they were just like living in squalor in the ship.
Yeah.
And yeah, they moved them to the ground and then basically immediately stopped giving any degree of a fuck about them at all, other than trying to use their technology, which apparently
mostly
only
their weapons.
one of them. Yeah, mostly their weapons, which are great at making people pop. Now that's one thing about this species. Like I was talking to you about it after we watched it and we left. Like, such a weird species because, like, from what we can see, they seem to be like gods of fucking war, right? Like they have all this crazy weapons technology, just fucking all this insane stuff, and we pretty much just see them eat cat food and break shit.
Yeah.
So like, which part of their society came up with all this? And like,
Yeah.
I want to see the road for them to this. Like that's the thing I've always wanted. That's why I wanted the sequel so bad. Is I want to see more of the species. More.
You want to see District
history.
8?
There's actually a storyline in the movie where like the fucking like Nigerian gangsters are like trading cat food for like alien weaponry.
Yeah, they just inexplicably have a
That's
crack
actually in the
level
movie.
addiction to cat food, and then it gets exploited. But
Which
no,
I'm sure every alien species that would exist, like
Would
same
like
with us.
cat food?
Well, we'd
Oh,
go.
yeah.
No, not cat food, but like we would go to another planet and like
there'd
the
be
air
some
is,
random fucking
like,
thing that.
marijuana. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like random things would have to happen like that
Oh yeah.
on different.
No, for sure. We
evolution
could go to a
chains.
different planet and like their fucking like motor oil could just like make us trip fucking balls and be highly addictive to us because of our fucking chemistry. Now it's a cool thing in the movie. It's hilarious, but yeah, for me, I just want to see like more of the species.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was left with after watching this movie. Is I want to see where these fucking weird things that are like every level of them is pretty inexplicable. Like I want to see more of this. I want to see more of the species. Like it's a great story. It's super immersive. You get drawn in pretty immediately. Again, it's super satisfying to watch. Really, really good visuals as far as the ship and as far as the prawns themselves. Some cool practical effects too, especially with
especially
his hands as he's transforming, because he basically transforms into one of these prawns over time. And the situation, so how he transforms, he finds this device that Christopher has been storing fluid from scavenged alien technology in to try to get the ship going again. And when he finds it, it's this random tube, and he's just kind of fiddle fucking with it. He's like, oh, what is this? This is crazy. I don't know what this is. This is fucking important. And he's just like looking at it. There's a button. You don't know what this alien technology is. This could be some super important shit. You don't know what the fuck this does, but you're gonna press this button and fucking
Yeah.
straight in the face.
I think I cooled a little bit on this one. I really love the setting and the environment, and of course the very obvious parallels and metaphors.
Yeah,
but
there's
I
a
thought
lot of metaphors.
the last half hour or so really kind of
No,
came to a conflict, splatter, conflict, splatter,
Yeah.
conflict, splatter.
No, I agree with the last bit of it was a little drawn out, a little bit more than I would have liked it to be. And actually, I think the weakest visual in the movie to me is the fucking exosuit once it's in action. I think like for somehow Starship Troopers visuals held up better for me than that did. But no, it was just a lot of just explosions and violence, and some of it didn't make any sense. The thing that makes no sense is the main character ends up being, he finally, after all this shit, decides that he wants to help Christopher and genuinely wants to help them, like, get off the planet after a change of heart when he's about to abandon him in human fashion, of course. But then he decides to help him, and he has donned this exosuit that's just like the fucking ultimate murder weapon.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, run, Christopher. I'll cover you. And it's already established that all the people they're dealing with are just like the worst fucking people. You got South African fucking
cannibal gangsters and this evil corporation that's been experimenting on these fucking things for who knows how long and doing all kinds of fucked up shit. So nobody's really a good guy. These dirtbag mercenaries are chasing him along with South African gangsters. And he's like, run, Christopher, get back to the ship. I'll protect you. And he just like human shields it for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he decides to defend himself. And I mean, he just makes everything explode.
Yeah.
And so, like, me watching that scene is like, just murder everyone. You're in like a fucking God of War suit here. Like, you literally can just murder everything. The only reason why it even comes to a point where he gets so fucked up and like the suit fails is just because he just got shot for 20 minutes. When he could have just been like, well, you're all dead. But
wait a minute, I could just kill you all.
Yeah. No, yeah, I definitely will say
that scene doesn't happen.
That last 20-minute chase scene for me was the most frustrating part of the movie. Up to that point, I loved all of it. But that was a little annoying just to see. It's one of those moments where, like in a horror movie, like, don't fucking go upstairs, you know, just leave type shit. Don't drop the gun. Like had those kind
don't
of
fuck that bitch.
Yeah, like, clearly it's a bad idea. So, but all in all, though, there's definitely a lot to be had in this movie, and there's a lot of metaphor, a lot of analogy. Touches on a lot of those very serious subjects in pretty clever ways throughout. It's a good watch. It's pretty fucking entertaining. It's pretty funny. I myself
it's very visceral and gross though.
Yes. That's one thing I'll say. I do like Blomkamp's sci-fi a lot because
Super
it's very dirty, gritty. I love the aesthetic of
I
all the
loved
design of the ships.
I love this film. Didn't know that I loved it. I knew I liked it after watching it the first time. Second time, just reaffirmed it. The subtitles went so far for me. Just like I love movies like that where it's like you get two sides of characters and they're both like experiencing these two things very differently.
Yeah.
And you're getting both sides of it, but there's no like they don't meet in the middle anywhere. You're just seeing both sides of it like flail freely.
You know, as much as
definitely had that vibe.
As much as you're thrown in to this crazy, inexplicable situation, it does carry you through really well. Like it's pretty fluid. While none of this really makes any sense, it does a great job of making it make exactly enough sense that you just roll with it and it's cool and it just works and it's satisfying the whole way through. So yeah, these are two of my absolute favorite sci-fi flicks. I think they both hold up super well. I think they will hold up super well for pretty much ever. I mean, I don't think that there's too much to take away from them, other than like what me and Reese had said. The end gets a little draggy, but probably for Blomkamp stuff, I think Chappie is my favorite of his. Chappie is just like 100% fucking just awesome.
I haven't seen that one since theaters. So
you haven't seen Chappie since then? Yeah, Chappie's fucking fantastic.
Need a rewatch of that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Blomkamp's stuff always leaves me a little conflicted, but I do love Starship Troopers. And honestly, I don't need or want a Starship Troopers remake, but I think Blomkamp could do a kind of interesting one.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good. He'd be a good candidate for that for sure. Yeah, no, I think for me, Starship Troopers, it's like, man, again, cast could be better, but to me, it's just a fucking gem. I think it holds up. Like I said, I watched that fucking movie a lot, and it holds up every time. It's like Big Trouble in Little China for me. Like, there's never a day where I'd be fucking 83 and watch both of those movies, and I'll enjoy them exactly as much as I did the first time I watched them when I was young. I think they're just right on the fucking money. So,
yeah.
Watch them. They're good movies. Watch both of these.
Yeah. Fuck. Let's go kill some bugs.
Kill some bugs.
Yeah.
Well, kill some bugs in one situation and then not kill bugs in the other.
Conflicted feelings about bugs right now. I don't know.
These bugs are good to kill. These bugs, you're a piece of shit if you want to kill.
And are partially crustacean.
Yeah.
The only
kind of like a lobster meets a grasshopper.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Lobster hopper. Lobster.
Fuck, give him a watch.
Yeah.
All right, so we're reaching the latter segment where Reese is going to tell us what we should go to the theater watch, and then I have to make a decision. I've literally got six different options I got pulled up on my phone here that I'm deciding between. I have not made up my mind yet. So tell us what we should go to the theater to watch before I tell us what we're going to watch. And I might need some help from two of you to figure this out.
All right.
We have officially entered fun movie season. Not good necessarily, but fun. Popcorn season. Summer blockbuster, even though it's only April. It starts earlier every year. The movies I could care less about are Arthur the King, Mark Wahlberg dog movie.
Boo.
Someone Like
It's Benji. It's basically fucking Benji.
It's Adventure Benji.
Yeah, that seems rough.
Someone Like You, which I know nothing about, but I'm just gonna guess it's a Christian romance.
Christian? Why does it have to be Christian?
Because it looks cheap, and the only cheap movies that North Point gets are Christian.
Oh.
Okay, here. A young woman with a beautiful life built on a lie must sort out her past in order to
I
fully
assume
embrace
this is
her
the
future.
description.
That is.
Not
So
the title of the next movie.
No, that was one. No, yeah, that's the description of Someone Like You. It's generic enough. I don't know what it's about, but
Hallmark movie.
basically, The Long Game, which is based on a true story,
Of course it is.
baseball movie, has Dennis Quaid in it. Don't care.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Unsinkable, which I don't. This looks like a straight to DVD movie from 2005. Look
Yes,
at
it
that
does.
poster.
Yeah.
It's
about the Titanic?
It's about the Titanic.
About the making of the Titanic.
The true story of rushed investigations, political interference, and the grasp for corporate accountability woven
You would have thought
amongst.
that Hollywood by now would
heart-
have given you a high budget movie.
Yeah,
on the
see,
Titanic sinking.
this is what I'm saying. You see that movie, it's called Unsinkable, and I just immediately go like Christian production company. Like,
Yeah.
there's no reason Warsaw should be getting this low budget of a movie.
They started production 2 years after James Cameron. Their movie came out first.
25 years in the making. Epic Tales, which looks like a very cheap animated movie. So yeah, there's that stuff. Then we've got Kung Fu Panda 4.
Which I just saw. It's another Kung Fu Panda movie.
If you like it, you'll like it.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters: The Frozen Empire. I think there's better stuff to see in theaters this week.
This week for sure. Not last week. There was not.
Yeah, no. Godzilla X Kong, which actually the studio has said it's not. The X is not part of the title. The movie is just called Godzilla Kong. They just put the X in there.
I mean, Godzilla Kong is
because
pretty
if you take the
awkward.
X out, it doesn't make sense. So
I guess they didn't want to call it Godzilla Dash Kong or Godzilla hyphen Kong.
I mean, just like maybe a comma. Why not just a comma?
Godzilla Kong.
it should be a
That
dollar
tracks
sign.
a little bit better.
I'd totally take a dollar sign.
Yeah.
Money Kong.
It could have been Godzilla and Kong.
Yeah,
That works.
You
I
know.
don't know.
And for Stan.
Then we've got The First Omen, which I talked about earlier. Dune 2 is still in theaters. I need to hurry up because I really want to see that a second time.
Yeah, I need to still see that.
Tomorrow, actually last week, we had an action movie starring, written and directed by Dev Patel. I've heard actually very good things. It's called Monkey Man.
Oh yeah, I've seen the trailer for that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that trailer yet.
I was kind of put off by it because the trailers really just kind of look like, what if John Wick was Indian? It's like, I don't care about a knockoff of John Wick.
Yeah.
But then it comes out and everyone's talking about how amazing it is. So I'm hopefully going to see that on Sunday. Apparently it's good.
And is it an Indian film?
It is not Indian like spoken, but it is.
Right.
It takes place in India, and
Right.
Dev Patel is the main character. And he's
Okay.
Indian. So, and then coming out tomorrow, I'm going to go
The
see.
movies have great production value usually, so.
Yeah. Civil War, the new movie from Alex Garland, from the director of Ex Machina and
Annihilation. Yeah.
Some
Love that guy.
like
He also did a
alternate modern
series on Hulu or Prime called
Devs.
Devs. I watched that's one of those I watched like the first 4 episodes of and like was absolutely fantastic, and then I just kind of fell off of it for no reason in particular.
I was
But
just
everything he's done is is good.
Talking to a friend about that yesterday. I only watched the first episode and I never got back to it.
But it's
He was
good
saying
though,
it-
right? Like there was no reason to
he
not
said
keep
it
watching.
ends really disappointing.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's a reason not to pick it back up.
But yeah, Civil War. I think it's very odd how much the dialogue about this movie is like exactly what they would have hoped for, of people
Right.
being like, "Oh, it's controversial. Oh, I don't know if we should support it. Oh no, we shouldn't
Right.
be looking at this. It's too real." It's like it's a movie, and you guys are just talking about it like it's this
Right.
big dramatic thing, and it's a political statement and stuff. I think it's just
Well,
a
I mean,
I know
what I imagine it's gonna be is just an observation of a hypothetical.
yeah.
Because like right now, like I mean, there's you could talk to a lot of people and they'd be like, you mentioned Civil War, and there's been plenty of movies in the last handful of years that are exactly this. Bushwick was one from like 10 years ago that was set in New York. That was pretty much about a civil war in this country.
The Purge movies, it honestly looks more akin to like the Purge movies than
Right.
like a real thoughtful.
Okay.
You know,
I would hope that it'd be a little bit more
I
thoughtful,
hope it's
especially
I
for
mean,
May
look,
24.
The
but
trailers, like the visual effects and stuff, look pretty incredible. There's one shot in the trailers where they fire a tank at the
right.
Jefferson Monument, and like I don't understand how they did this shot without
Right.
like very large models because it looks
Right.
very real,
Right,
like you're
right.
shooting a tank at the Jefferson Monument.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm with the buzz about it, and just I think it's interesting subject matter for the time that we are in now, and I'd like to see what perspective it is because I can imagine that people are going to make a lot of assumptions about it, and I don't know if those assumptions are going to be fair at all. So I think I'm going to watch it this weekend myself, and so I'll be excited to talk about it.
I'm going to see that tomorrow. Pretty excited. Yeah, that's the new stuff coming.
All right. So now I need to pick the subject for the next episode, and I need your guys' help with this. Give me some motivation. What are we looking for? What do we want with these picks?
I want surprises.
Surprises. Okay.
Maybe stuff I haven't seen, maybe stuff you haven't seen. You're unsure about.
Okay. Well, what are you looking for, John? What do you want
Yeah.
here?
I mean, similar stuff that people haven't seen or don't have great recollection of, or have, we might assume contrasting opinions on.
Challenges. I always love a
Something-
challenge.
A challenge?
Like
How so?
challenge movie that I'm gonna go into, maybe rolling my eyes a bit or thinking like, this isn't worth my time. But you're like, no, believe me.
Okay.
What's not so much like Digstown because I knew nothing about that movie,
Right.
but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay.
Is that-
You guys got to give me more. I'm not getting there.
I'm always up for sci-fi.
Okay.
Yeah, I could agree. We haven't had we haven't had a whole lot of sci-fi yet. So
We've done a decent amount of sci-fi, but I'm always up for more because sci-fi is the best genre. But thrillers, I know you like mysteries.
All right. Like I'm gonna give you some themes
Okay,
of what I
are
have.
these double features or
Yeah, these are double features.
maybe taking into account run times?
And these aren't going to be like I'm doing these off the cuff here. So here are your categories: music, filmmaking, dead things, old things, alternate takes, classic.
Those are all double features.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go music.
Music
Seems the
All right.
most
What do you think?
different
John?
from what we've done before.
yeah, it's different than what we've done before, so I could get behind that too. That are alternate takes, I guess.
Alternate takes.
You want to roll a die between alternate takes?
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's roll a
John,
die. Let's
got a die.
let's find out.
can go
Music
You don't
or
got your
alternate
die.
takes.
haven't been playing. I can grab it.
Oh my god, we have to leave the room to flip a
I
coin?
thought he literally had a satchel of dice.
This is the worst part of the podcast where we have to just fill some dead air while somebody looks for a way
I'm glad
to
like you're the one
randomly choose.
doing this because like a couple times I've almost come to like, hey guys, what do you think I should pick? And
Yeah,
feel like
I
you're
don't.
gonna-
I don't want to give you my options exactly, but I guess I'll just roll a die.
So let's
and figure
say-
it out.
Odds are music, evens are alternate takes.
Looks like
Wait, what?
Odds
Oh, I had it different in my mind, so now I
You
don't know what
pick
to
then.
think.
odds are music, evens are alternate takes.
All right,
What did you roll?
we're gonna do alternate takes.
Okay.
And John Brown, this double feature is for you.
Yeah.
Because this is alternate takes on one leg of two different double features that you've done.
Yeah.
And so what I have done here is something we were going to do last week. Edge of Tomorrow as an alternate, actually an alternate double feature for one of this week's movies. And then 2 choices ago, you did, Big Trouble in Little China?
Yeah.
I've got Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, which is going to serve as the alternate double feature that would pair with that film.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay,
I've had other people tell me about that too. And talking about
Dude, Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon is the most fucking ridiculously stupid movie you'll ever see.
Mm-hmm.
And like you'll like not be able to tell me that you didn't enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
We will watch that one first.
I mean, you know me, I'm a sucker for ridiculous.
Episode 26 will be Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. And we will follow that with Edge of Tomorrow.
Sweet. And Reese, got any idea where we can watch these things?
Edge of Tomorrow looks like it's on Apple TV Plus, available to buy in all the normal places. And The Last Dragon, if this is the right one.
Does it look like the geekiest kung fu movie you've ever seen?
Yeah.
But
it doesn't say.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah,
Yes.
It looks like it's on Fubo. If you have Fubo.
Fubo.
Otherwise, it's
These
available
things just
to
keep
buy.
coming out of the woodwork, man.
You can get it on Vudu.
Yeah, you can get it on Vudu.
Yeah.
I have the Blu-ray. Never watched it though.
This guy. I have the Blu-ray. I've never watched it.
So you say it's the most ridiculous thing. I think there's one thing has to be more ridiculous.
I think that no matter love, hate, the one thing that of both of these movies, the one thing that you will agree with me on, Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon is the best possible pairing with Big Trouble Little China for a double feature. Yeah. I literally, as I was watching, rewatching Big Trouble in Little China, the whole time I kept thinking is like, I just want to watch The Last Dragon immediately after this.
Sweet. So yeah, that's exciting.
Oh yeah.
And it is not a great movie.
The most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen, though, and something I've been wanting to rewatch, and it's not a full feature-length film, but Kung Fury. You ever watched Kung Fury?
Yes, Kung Fury is very
fun. That's the
fun.
most fucking ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Nice. Okay. It looks like Edge of Tomorrow is 114 minutes, and Last Dragon
and imagine it'd
is
probably be right around the same.
108 minutes. So,
nice.
We can do that in one.
Yeah. That's perfect.
It's
time.
basically
About 3.5
you guys basically chose the only pair that I had that we could do in one night. So that also worked out well.
Right.
Well, I look forward to seeing your 6 other pairings.
Oh, I mean, literally, what I have written down, these are all coming in some order. Like I'm going to do all these pairs at some point. So,
I mean, in a long enough timeline, we'll watch every movie.
We will.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah, eventually we'll just be able to swap our fucking brains out into some cyber brains and we'll just keep this going.
We will.
We are going to do our 100 feature this week.
And in a long enough timeline, we will get to like every version of A Star Is Born. There's like 8.
And the director's cuts.
All right, cool.
Yeah, like I remember when that movie came out and like somebody like posted on my Facebook and they were like, "Oh, I just saw this movie. It was so good." And like somebody was like, "Oh, did you ever see the original with Barbra Streisand?" And I was like, technically that was the 5th iteration of this film.
Yeah.
No one's even done like prequels yet. Like A Star Will Be Born.
Yeah.
It's funny how many iterations Seven Samurai has.
Well,
film.
most of them are just stuff like thievery.
Yeah, no, that's what cracked me up about the that movie Rebel Moon that just came out not that long ago. Everybody on Facebook was like, "It's a ripoff of Star Wars." Like, well, it's actually a ripoff of the Seven Samurai. You've never even heard of that, so it's clearly a ripoff of that. Or actually, you could call it an homage to that. It's clearly a ripoff of Dune and Warhammer 40K. That's what it's a ripoff.
Well, if it was made in America, it's a ripoff of the Magnificent Seven, which is a ripoff of Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
So.
That works so much better though as a like that. Doing that with a western at least like feels like an homage.
Well, I mean, like
because they're kind of the same.
I've always thought of samurai flicks as like Japanese westerns.
Yeah, they
like,
are.
They
They
totally play
are.
like a
Yeah.
western. So
for sure.
Just
there
are fewer
It's
guns.
the same
more
time frame.
swords.
Yeah, no, it's the same time frame too historically.
the Man with No Name trilogy, Fistful of Dollars and A Few Dollars More is very much Yojimbo Sanjuro,
Right.
Yeah,
Akira Kurosawa films.
yeah, like Sergio Leone, like his, I don't know. I love westerns. Like I definitely have to be in the mood to like.
That's something that we haven't done
They're
yet.
like
Yeah, we gotta do a
they're
Western.
pretty like epic and like
Involved.
all they engulf you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Sometime we gotta watch that whatever fucking 5-hour version of Once Upon a Time in America.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime. Or is
Sometime.
it's America, right? Or New York?
Once Upon a Time. I mean, no. Once Upon a Time in America.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sure that New York existed. There's a Once Upon a Time for every city.
There is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bound to be.
There's like a whole trilogy of films called Once Upon a Time in China.
Yeah.
All right, well, there we go, guys.
You know, like somewhere there's like Once Upon a Time in fucking Dover, Delaware.
Once Upon a Time in Warsaw, Indiana.
Oh shit.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode. This was 25. We are a quarter of the way to 100.
Hell yeah.
And join us 2 weeks from now, probably, for episode 26.
Peace.
And
Bye.
Fuck off.